Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Good. Thank you in advance, everyone who's watching, who submitted questions tonight. We've got 10 brilliant questions that have been voted for as well from YouTube users, and they're brilliant questions. Slightly disappointed that some of them came in anonymously, but we'll make names up for them as we go along, I think. Without further ado, please welcome to the stage a man we've watched and we've laughed at over the years in many brilliant things. Writer, actor, producer Mr. Seth Rogen, and the man who wrote this, exec produced it, and whose incredible personal story this is based on. Seth Rogen and Will Reiser. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Wow.
Yeah, we do this for a while until then you forget.
It's like a giant straw.
I like these.
What's at the end? That's the question.
I just wish it was more phallic.
I want to start by knowing how you guys met and how long you've known each other.
We met registered in the green room.
Yeah, exactly. He seemed like a great guy. We met in, was it 2004 or 3?
Like the end of 3 and the beginning of 4.
Writing for the Ali G show, actually, on HBO in the States. Actually, Will was a producer. It was his job to book the guests, so he would lie to James Lipton all day. And me and Evan Goldberg, who's my writing partner, we were writers for the show, and we would help Sasha write the interview questions. And we were all, I mean, I was like 22 at the time, and Will was like 24, so we were all the youngest guys on the show by a solid decade or so. So we kind of became really good friends around that time.
And I guess, when did you decide that writing about this incredible experience that you had was the right thing to do, or was something that you needed to do, wanted to do?
So 6 years ago, in 2005, is when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had a tumor in my spine, very similar to what Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character has in the movie. And one night, Seth was there with me throughout the entire thing, and he was, my closest friend throughout it. And we were at a party one night, and we were reflecting on just all the absurd things people would say to me while I was sick, and all the absurd advice, and just how no one had the ability to interact with me in a normal way. And we were talking about that there was no movie we could reference that illustrated what we were going through.
Yeah.
And that there's no movie about young people going through cancer, and also we're comedy writers, and we really like to make. We really sought the humor in the situation, and there was just no movie that had any of that. And so we realized that there was this opportunity to make a movie about cancer, and that could be funny. And it was kind of a joke at the time. It was around the time that The Bucket List was coming out, and so we decided we were kind of parodying that. But then once I got better, about a year after I got better, Seth and his writing partner Evan Goldberg, who also produced 50/50. They just really pushed me to write the script.
But it gets the tone so brilliant, and the sincerity's there, and it's about real reactions to you, to people, to the situations, as opposed to just writing a gag about a person or a situation or a reaction. Was that important?
We wanted it to feel as honest and real and organic as possible, again, because that's what we felt like hadn't been done, really. It almost felt like a lot of movies about disease kind of try to systematically avoid the fact that funny things happen amidst tragedy, and to us it was just absurd. So we really that was the whole reason we wanted to do it, was to really show that just because sad things are happening doesn't mean funny things are also happening, and just because funny things are happening doesn't mean sad things can't also happen. And but the tone. The one conversation we'd have the most is, does this feel honest and does it feel real? And we didn't have a lot of conversations about, is this too funny or not funny enough? It was mostly just how real does it feel?
Well, everyone kind of, I guess, you go through those times where people will say, if you're going to make a movie of your life, who do you want to play you? And you kind of got Joseph Gordon-Levitt too.
Yeah, and I got me.
But you play you so
I
brilliantly.
do. There's guys who could do it better, probably, to be totally honest. I'm sure a British guy could do it better.
I'm not complaining.
What was it about Joe? Why was he right for Adam?
Joe is one of the few young actors who can do comedy and drama just incredibly well, and he can walk that line and balance it. And I just and he's quite exceptional. You know, he started in comedy and then doing sitcoms like Roseanne and Third Rock from the Sun, and then he moved on to doing more serious roles like Mysterious Skin and Brick. And you know, you can just tell like he just gets it. You know, I mean, he understands when the joke is appropriate, and he understands when the more serious moments are appropriate. And that's really rare. And we were really fortunate and lucky to have such an exceptional actor in that playing the character of Adam.
How does it feel for you though? Because you know he is pretty much playing elements of your life on screen. Is it weird to watch? How does it make you feel?
You know, it's not weird because I think that through the process of writing the script, I really got out a lot of what writing the script was really the way in which I was able to say all the things I couldn't say when I was sick, and writing it, I was able to go back and look and examine some of the more painful memories I had, and so I really feel like I got it out of my system. So by the time we were making the movie and then watching it, it doesn't. I feel very much like I'm just watching Joe play his character, and it's incredibly liberating.
I bet.
Yeah.
I want to get down to some of these questions that we've got from these voted YouTube, some anonymous people, because they're great questions, and I kind of don't want to spoil their questions by asking them myself as well. First, we're going to go with anonymously. Did you experience any opposition from family or friends who may not have understood the humorous approach to a serious subject?
No.
Not at all.
I think my mother, there was some trepidation.
Yeah, the answer is no.
There was trepidation by my mother about how her character was going to be portrayed.
Was that?
Yeah.
But
Were you like, it's
other
all
than
right,
that,
Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Once she heard it was Angelica Houston, she was cool with it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, my mother, both my parents always seek the humor in any situation, and so, and they've both gone through their own difficult situations, and they've used humor, and I think that they understand it and appreciate it.
Was your girlfriend as much of a bitch as she was in the film?
Next question.
This comes from Maggie198585. I'm not sure if that's her phone number.
I don't know. We should try it.
Yeah, we'll try it. Question for Will. Can you give us an insight into how you went about writing the script? Writing alone, is it difficult? How did you keep focus, and did you ever lose confidence? What's the best piece of advice you have for a young writer?
Well, I will say yes. I did lose confidence. I would say, as a writer, I lose confidence in my ability to write on a daily basis. And then, but I'll wake up in the morning, write something, and think I'm the greatest writer in the world, and then at the end of the day, reread it and think I ask myself, why am I doing this for a living? And I just think that's the part of being a writer and doing anything creative is you constantly have to question what you're doing and push yourself. And
I don't do that.
Seth doesn't do that. Everything Seth does is brilliant, and that's really the truth.
I never even thought of that. I didn't even reread it.
What did you think when you first read the script, Seth?
I was happy that he'd completed a script, which most people just don't do. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people write the first 35 pages of a script, and that's when it starts to get hard after that, and most people just stop there. So the fact that it was actually done, I was thrilled about, because it was several years after the fact, and then when I read it, it was really good and funny. But what was funny is the first draft he handed me and Evan was literally titled "How I Learned Nothing from Having Cancer," and
how I learned nothing from cancer.
Yeah, and me and Evan, I mean, it was just so clear that he had learned a lot, and he was so much more mellow and happy and confident, and just generally, easier to spend time with than he was before he had cancer, And so it was interesting because I think even at that time he didn't quite have the perspective to see what a journey he'd been on. So it took a lot of conversations. It took a lot for us to understand where he was coming from with the whole thing, and it took a lot for, I think, him to understand everyone else's perspective throughout the whole thing. And but all that is natural, and it wasn't like a particularly tumultuous process by any means. It was just, it's a tricky movie to write.
Another anonymous person says, when you discussed the screenplay with the director in pre-production, how much did you change it to enhance the storytelling and the imagery of the movie?
You guys spent a lot of time.
We spent a lot of time. Jonathan and I spent a lot of time working on the script, and I think we spent a lot of time working on the scenes between Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anna Kendrick.
So what's good about hiring a director who's also a writer? You get a free writer out of the deal.
Yeah, and he was really good. It was nice to have someone to just push me to delve deeper. Because I think when we were in pre-production, the character, Anna Kendrick's character, she was a solid character, but just the depth of her character needed a little bit more, and John really worked hard with me and pushed me into enhancing those scenes, and some of those scenes were really difficult. And
didn't get written until literally minutes before they were filmed.
The scene. Well, I don't know. Has the audience seen the movie?
I think some people have, yeah.
Some have.
Yeah, quite a few have.
Some have. All right.
We could just do a Q&A on the trailer. We were saying.
Because it's hard to talk about a scene that people haven't seen. So, but yeah, there's one scene in particular that I would literally.
It was always called. It was the good therapy scene.
It was the scene,
the scene where she was supposed to be good at therapy for the first time.
And we were like, well, what does that mean? Like,
and you've just seen so many movies with therapy. Like everything we wrote, we're like, that's from The Sopranos. That's that's from Analyze This. Like it was hard.
It didn't feel real.
Yeah, it was hard to make therapy in a movie sound not like therapy in a movie.
And there's also like this undercurrent of this romantic bond that is forming. So it was a tricky scene, but I literally finished writing it like minutes before we shot it.
Yeah.
Did your 65-year-old therapist touch you?
That's right. I did have a therapist, and she was 65. We fooled around a little bit.
You just made out with her.
We made out.
Times,
There was some heavy petting.
It was and it helped you.
Yes.
She's
mortified right now.
This is from Stand for Life 09. And it says, were there times when you found yourself wondering how well the darkly comedic aspects of the film would be taken by critics, audiences, cancer patients, and cancer survivors? Does that kind of cross your mind when you're going through that process of writing, or is it purely for you?
You think about it, right?
Yeah, I thought about it. Honestly, I think when I was writing it, I was really writing it more from my perspective and my point of view and how I felt about the whole experience. And I was worried less about how I didn't really think that too much about how other cancer patients and survivors would view it. And but
it's impossible to know is the thing. You could hypothesize all day over what critics might like or what audiences might like or what might offend certain groups of people, but the only thing you really know for sure is whether or not you find it interesting and creatively valid. So I think as long as you find it interesting, you're in good shape. And I think if you approach it from the standpoint of like, oh, this will appease these people, then it's dangerous because that's just a tricky game to play.
You have friends read the script who are not writers and who just will just give an honest opinion, and they'll let you know if they think things are offensive or cross any lines.
We rarely listen to them though.
This is a really lovely question from XX Harleykins XX.
Nice, that's a lot of X's.
Hey guys, I'm a cancer patient and connected deeply with the film in a lot of different ways. What would you like to say to people that are going through cancer? And do you think this film will inspire others to be more open about their diagnosis?
I hope so. I think Seth and I have screened the movie for several cancer organizations, and we found that it really does open up a broader discussion about people's personal experiences, and people are more willing to share. After having seen the movie, I think, which is great. That wasn't necessarily something we we thought would we didn't even think that would we didn't even think about that, but it's great to know that people can relate to it and can connect to it, and that friends and family members of cancer patients can now see what it's like. And,
well, now there's a movie. I mean, that was the thing. It's like we didn't have a movie to reference, so now there's a movie to reference.
Right.
So and I think if we did have a movie, it would have made our experience just a little tiny bit easier, probably.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, everyone else gets a movie. Robot boxers don't get movies, and young cancer patients don't. So it's unfair.
Well, when something is kind of so personal, and in terms of experiences that you guys have gone through, sort of thing, I guess you strive to get it so right. There's that, because there's that real connection with it, that real personal attachment to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are really. I mean, internally, we're very hard on the material. I think we criticize it amongst ourselves more than any person would put the energy into doing that, I hope. I mean, we literally spend weeks analyzing every aspect of the movie. And so, I mean, we really wanted to make it feel real and honest. And honestly, the more serious scenes were a lot harder for us than the comedic ones. Like, I think for us, it's a lot easier, and it comes a lot more naturally to try to inject humor into dark situations rather than to just let them play without trying to inject humor. But we did it, and it makes people cry, so that's nice.
What was the hardest part for you, Seth?
Hardest part for me?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, that was the hardest part for me. I think, like, it's the first movie that me and Evan have produced on our own, and there's a big margin for error for this movie, because, like, a bad cancer comedy might be, like, the worst, most offensive movie ever made. And so, I think that was the hardest part, just was overall making sure we were dealing with it well, because we're used to having other people kind of supervising us, so if it goes terribly wrong, I could always blame Judd Apatow or something, but that didn't happen.
We would have still blamed him.
I would have still blamed him somehow, but yeah, it would have been a lot harder. So that's really what the challenge for this movie was when I think of it, is just making sure we weren't doing something that was really shitty.
This is a great question from Lil Downs in Reading. Seth, did you enjoy the process of doing a more dramatic role after mostly doing mostly comedic roles?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an unsatisfying answer, but there's really no difference between, for me anyway, between like performing a dramatic role and a comedic one. It's actually a lot easier to do a dramatic one, I hate to say it, because you're just doing the same stuff, but you're not trying to be funny also. So so it's actually kind of a relief to do a movie where you can not be funny for a few scenes and it doesn't seem like a failure on your part. It seems like you're being sensitive and deep, but...
Were you there through the whole process of the filmmaking?
Yeah, I was there every day, and I sat next to Jonathan every day working, working incredibly closely. Yeah, it was great.
This is for another from Star for Life. Seth, would you have agreed to be in the film had the comedic aspect been missing?
No, because it would have been pointless to make this movie if there was no comedic aspect in it. There's plenty of miserable movies about cancer. I mean, we didn't need to add one of those to the lexicon of film. The only reason to make this movie for us was because we felt that the comedic perspective was unrepresented in these types of movies. So, it would have never materialized, I think, if it wasn't funny.
What's the kind of percentage of events in the film that actually happened?
Exact
percentage.
Exact.
28.4.
Well, I mean, the movie as a whole is fiction. It's more
It's more like themes and ideas that are based on what actually happened. Like, we worked together in the movie. We worked together in real life. We're best friends in the movie. We were best friends in real life. He was annoying in the movie. And,
He was insensitive.
And I was an asshole in real life. So it was, I mean, and the relationship with the mother, I think.
The mother's actually pretty
close
to what happened.
And so, yeah, I think it's more thematically, it's based on stuff that happened rather than like, oh, there was the day we went to the bookstore and I hit on the girl. Like that's less. It did.
Yeah, we never actually used. Well, I did introduce Seth to his wife while I was sick.
Yeah, at a bar one night.
At a bar.
Did you tell her you had cancer?
She knew.
She knew.
And it did make me seem very compassionate that I was
incredibly.
with you.
I am convinced that it's the only reason she married him. I can see no other reason other than my cancer.
No, there was no other reason. I kept bringing you drinks. You just sit, Will. It's okay.
And he, prior to being sick, I did not smoke marijuana. And
we put that in the movie too.
Seth
I actually got a medicinal marijuana card because he didn't want to, and so
that's in the movie.
Such a great
I bit the bullet and got one, and I never got rid of it.
But the scar scene happened.
Oh yeah, in the movie, there's a scene in which Seth's character changes the dressing after Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character has just had surgery on his back.
Yeah,
and that happened in real life.
That's probably the closest moment in the movie to something that happened in real life, which is embarrassing because I look like a wimp in that scene. But it's
the truth.
I almost threw up.
When we were in Vancouver making the movie, I cut my finger slicing bread, and there was a little bit of blood, and Seth almost vomited. So
I was pruning a plant a few months ago, and I stabbed myself in the leg with the shears, and I literally fainted.
A good person to have around the hospital. Have you got favourite scenes though from the movie? Have you each got kind of scenes that are, I don't know, most important to you, or your favourite scenes from writing it, making it, being in it?
I think we both have our favorite scene is the same.
Yeah.
It's when Seth's character confronts Bryce Dallas Howard's character for cheating on Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character.
Yeah, that was fun.
That actually happened, didn't it?
No.
It didn't. It did not happen.
Would have been really cool if it did, though. No.
I just love how you never let her finish a word or a sentence, and you just...
It's fun doing scenes where everyone's screaming at each other, for me. Yeah, Bryce is really funny, too. Yeah, that was a fun scene to shoot. I was looking forward to that one.
Let's talk about the rest of the cast and kind of their involvement in it. And I mean, was there an element of improvisation with scenes, with certain scenes, with people? Was that kind of
improvisation?
encouraged?
Yeah. I think it was always encouraged. I mean, I think it was the primary thing was to figure out what when we would shoot a scene, we would rehearse it and block it, and you could tell very quickly what was working and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And we would there were just lots of conversations between all of us and the actors and figuring out what would how to make the scene work the best, and then when we would shoot the scenes, there was always room to just for all the actors to add lines and to, feel free to
we encourage that.
Yeah, improvise, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's the beauty of film is you can always just cut what doesn't work. So 50-50, that if you were a casino game, I mean, that's improvised. That wasn't scripted.
No.
I wanted to ask, kind of, what did you go into that scene with, and how much of that is you and Joseph?
I think a lot of that stuff was.
It's you would take pieces from the script and then just kind of deconstruct it.
But I don't think in the script there was the idea that I named celebrities who have beaten it. They took out our Patrick Swayze joke. That's
Oh, right.
Yeah. I was waiting for that, actually.
I know. It's the best. It's the best joke in the whole scene, and they're afraid to show it to people out of context. It's in the actual movie. I list Patrick Swayze as a cancer survivor, and he tells me that he didn't beat cancer, and it really deeply affects my character. Which is a fucked up joke, but it's pretty funny.
But it's a joke at the expense of
exactly
of
my character. The joke is that I'm just out of touch with society more than anything. I can't remember exactly how that scene was written, but I think those are the types of scenes that improv is most helpful for. The scenes like where it's him telling me he has cancer. I mean, it's hard to write that because it's the type of thing that you've seen that type of thing in so many movies that you just want it to feel as natural and original as possible, and you literally don't know what it's going to be like, what the street's going to be like, what the whole environment's going to be like, and until you're really there doing it, it's funny.
Well, you being nauseous, like that whole thing, you added that.
Yeah, the whole idea
that
that I'm
wasn't
going
in
to
the
throw
script.
up and stuff
You
like
were,
that.
yeah, in the script it was just you were just kind of nervous about it, but you added
Yeah.
that. And
Because you'd actually gone through that. With,
Yeah.
Is that in your mind when you're, when
No.
you're acting out that scene, or is it?
It's not really, honestly. Again, the situation's so different. In real life, when Will phoned me to tell me he had cancer, I was sitting on the toilet going to the bathroom. We did not
answer your
we
phone
did
while
not
on
put
the
that in the movie. Well, the reason I answered my phone is another one of our friends had called me like 10 minutes earlier and was like, "Will has cancer. Don't tell him I told you. Bye." And I was like, "What?" And then I went to the bathroom and my phone rang and I saw it was Will and I was like, "Fuck, I have to answer. I know he's telling me he has cancer." That's not the kind of thing you want to leave on a message. Yeah, exactly. So I picked up and I remember it being. I remember thinking, like, this isn't a good reaction I'm giving him. Like, I should be more emotive throughout this. Yeah, I mean, that.
he sounded very distraught.
I did sound.
He was on the toilet.
It was a labored reaction. Yeah. No. So I think again the situation was so different that what actually happened didn't pertain in any way.
I think if we had put that in the movie, people would have been offended.
it would have sucked.
I think
That
people would have
been
thought we were
terrible.
making like a really broad.
No one would
comedy.
believe I was stupid enough to do that.
Yeah.
What do you reckon your reactions would have been if a girl had come up to you in a bar and said that?
That they had cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
I would say you probably don't want to sleep with me then. I would find someone better.
I mean, just if a woman came up to me and started
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
to me, all right, I'm thrilled. Whether she had cancer or not, it's.
I got another couple of questions. These are quite kind of movie-related questions about the business.
Oh, good.
Before we throw our questions out to the audience, this comes from Slovakia. This question.
Wow, that's where I would expect a movie
Evening soaring the air if you are watching. A budget for most new movies is incredibly high. Did the low budget present any difficulties whilst making 50-50? What do you think of films that eat up hundreds of millions of dollars? Are they worth the money? Question for both, but especially Seth.
Tell us about Making the Green Hornet.
Yeah. Made money. I don't know what to say. I think if you make a movie with a high budget, then you should make it with the goal of having a whole lot of people see it. I do believe in financial responsibility in movies. I think that I would treat an $8 million movie like this much differently than a $100 million movie. I mean, it's. I don't know what I said that was that funny, but I appreciate that.
From Slovakia.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the answer is yes. The fact that this movie cost $8 million made it much easier to get made. We are converting it to 3D, however, and I think it will be good. And I honestly think that, yeah, you could make a $500 million movie if you think it'll make $1 billion, and then it's a worthwhile investment. I mean, that's how the economy works.
I mean, I think had we made this movie with a big studio, for $25 million or $30 million,
they would have ruined it.
The studio would have had much more control over it. And they would have made it into a movie that felt, much more mainstream and was a little bit more mediocre and more
But
people.
there's no means. I mean, they just wouldn't have done.
But they might have turned it into a movie like The Bucket List, which which made money, but but it was not. Yeah, but it was just not very good.
Yeah.
I mean,
would have made it.
No, I just don't think. I mean, movie studios don't even make movies for $8 million. I mean, that's like it's not in their business model. So, I think they would not have spent the amount of money that movie studios spend on movies on this movie specifically because it's just a potentially repellent idea. I mean, we understand that. We're not crazy. I mean, I know again, you have to be accepting of what you're doing, and we're making a comedy about a young guy who has cancer. So there's a lot of people who just probably don't like that idea, and so again, it was responsible of us to not even try to do that, and it made the whole process easier.
Yeah, there were no studio was like they were not knocking on our doors.
No.
Like the script was out there and people were reading it and people really liked it, but no major studio was coming after us. But
no one's sitting in an office at a major studio being like, it'd be great if we had like a cancer comedy to release around October. That would be. We have Spider-Man coming in the summer, so maybe a little cancer comedy will carry us through the fall.
This comes from Janko. What do you think? How will the movie film landscape change over the next years, considering the broadening opportunities for independent and up-and-coming filmmakers to find their audience on platforms like the one you're holding this interview on?
I got confused by that question.
Yeah, can I read that?
It's number 8.
Number 8. The theme of this movie.
This one.
There's 2 number 8s. What do you think? How will the movie film landscape change over the years, considering the broadening opportunities for up-and-coming filmmakers to find their audience on platforms like the one you're holding this, like on this literal platform? on the physical platform that we are holding this interview on? Or the BFI festival?
I think I'm going to be talking about, I guess, internet and kind of movie.
Oh, YouTube. That's the platform.
Yeah.
I see. The internet platform. I get it. I mean, I think, I don't know. It's interesting. I think, I don't know if, do people ever just make full movies and put them online for people to watch for free? I mean, I don't know.
Certain types of movies.
Yeah, exactly. And I watch them. Yeah, it seems like pornographers are always on the forefront of entertainment. So I would encourage other people to follow in their example and set up web pages dedicated to streaming online content. Original online content. But porno shows that if you put it out there and it's good, people will watch that shit.
Nudity doesn't hurt either.
Let's get some questions from our audience right here. If you want to put, here we go. Gentleman right in front of me there. Hold on, I think there's people with microphones, so those people in Slovakia and not watching porn can hear you.
There's very few.
Thank you, and thanks for being here today and giving us the opportunity to, ask questions. Did you find that there was any studio? I mean, I know you produced the movie yourself. Was that always in your mindset to do that with Evan, or did you literally decide to do that because studios were literally making suggestions about how to broaden it, how to make it fit into the one of those awful bucket list?
No. It's just because, the producer of the movie is not who literally pays for the movie. It's they find the people who will pay for the movie, and the studio is the one who pays for the movie. And it's confusing to say the studio pays for the movie, and we say we didn't take this movie to a major studio because that just is confusing, and it's very semantical. The truth is we found an independent studio to pay for the movie called Mandate, who financed the movie Juno, among some other movies. And so we always knew that was the best way to do it, to not take it to one of the major studios, being Sony, Universal, DreamWorks, Paramount, Disney obviously would not make this.
Yeah, we wanted to do it with someone who would allow us full creative control.
Yeah, so we made the decision very early on to approach getting the financing independently, but that actually means getting it from an independent studio, which is Mandate.
Were they always on your page? Did you get any suggestions from Mandate about stuff they wanted or considered?
We did get some suggestions, and luckily they were pretty smart, which pains me to say, but they actually were. And Nathan Kahane, who's the president of Mandate, is actually a very smart, articulate film, person. and it was actually a pleasure working with them, and we plan on working with them more in the future. They were actually really good.
Okay, next question, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lady over there. third row back.
Hi. I was just wondering if this was a one-off project for you, or whether you were going to do any other film projects or porn movies.
Are you hanging up your film?
Are you asking if I'm retiring after this? What's
retiring?
I think, Will, it's for you.
Oh, is that for me?
Oh, it's for,
Yeah.
is it?
Oh,
Oh,
together.
are we together doing
together.
one? Yeah. Actually, Will is supposedly starting to write a script that me and Evan are producing, and Jonathan Levine is signed on to direct again, who directed this movie. So
Yeah.
And mandate the studio that paid for this movie is also
Financing it.
finance that movie.
And that movie is inspired by real events as well. When I was 14, my grandmother and I went to Jamaica, and the travel agent fucked up and booked us at a couples resort. And
I think you got an audience there, Will. Yeah. That's all you need to say.
check it out. Check it out. It's going to be great.
There's your test audience. We're right
Yeah.
there.
The whole movie should just be you explaining the movie. No.
That's it. Honestly, all I do is I just tell people, I describe what happened, and people are like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Totally different reaction to when I'm like, it's a movie about a guy who has cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Doesn't sound
No one
funny.
liked that.
Next question.
Oh.
Oh, we got someone with a microphone. Sorry, there you go.
Nice.
Hi.
It's the guy who was laughing hard. Nice.
Yeah, amazing.
What was the most embarrassing thing that happened during the production of this film from the beginning to the very end?
The most embarrassing thing that happened? I mean, we shot the movie in Vancouver, where I'm from, and people in Vancouver get drunk and smoke weed a lot. So, especially my fans, and so they tend to lose their inhibitions, maybe before one would hope. And there were a lot of scenes where we were trying to shoot outside on the street, and there was literally just drunk dudes screaming my name to the point that it actually made it difficult to film sometimes, once or twice. And that was very embarrassing, because I love all the stone drunk people, but every once in a while, you know, I just wish my fans were like hot women or something like that. I don't get that. I get like stoned 14-year-olds.
Well, do you have any?
Embarrassing? I don't know. I can't think of. I'm sure I did something incredibly embarrassing, but
Yeah, you did a lot of shit, but we, no.
Okay, next question. Have we got someone with a microphone already or no? There's a man waving at the back, so you're definitely next. I like waving. It's good. Oh,
Hi.
Hi. She grabbed it.
Was there a particular reason why you wrote The Therapist as young and inexperienced?
Yes. I wanted to.
Nice.
There is a reason. I have an answer for this.
I'm glad about that.
I really wanted to show how it's, you know, when you're in your 20s, how you're just not equipped to deal with a situation like this. And it's not just the cancer patient and the friends and the family members, but that there are other, like, to get an insider's view into, you know, a hospital administrator, and to see what that's like, to get to, you know, going into a situation that you're not equipped to deal with, and how you have 4 characters who are all beginners in, you know, in dealing with such a tumultuous situation, and seeing her growth in the way she handles it. And also, yeah, I mean, the therapist alone was a great way to just get exposition out, but it was also a great way for, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character to be able to relate to someone his age who's going through, you know, her own growing pains. So it was really, that's really why I made her so young.
what was so right about Anna Kendrick for the role as well?
What's that?
Why was Anna Kendrick right for the role?
Oh, I just think Anna's an incredible actress. She just, her performance in Up in the Air was astounding, and I even saw her in her first movie, which was Camp, back in 2003, 2004, and she blew
One of
me
your
away.
favorite movies.
It's one of my favorite. No,
No.
it is a good movie, actually. I highly recommend it.
You quote it all the
I
time.
do. I quote it. Well, her performance is really great, and she was like 17 when she made that movie, and
Now it's getting weird.
now. But she just has, she has incredible comedic timing, and she also knows how to pull off the drama as well. And I think it's rare, and she's quite talented.
Next question, please. The man who was actually waving second at the back row there. Pass the mic. Faster. There you go.
Evening, gentlemen. I watched it this afternoon. It was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was some great performances. Seth, great.
Thanks.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, brilliant. But I thought the best performance, a little bit understated, was actually Skeletor, the dog.
He's quite good.
He's quite good.
Excellent. He is so damn good.
That dog was freaky.
Will, did you have a canine pal that got you through cancer?
Other than Seth?
Yeah. Would have been helpful. It would have been nice to have a dog around.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Unfortunately. I wish I had a Skeletor. It probably would have been a huge pain in the ass, to be honest.
How did you choose Skeletor? Was there a rigorous...
What, the name or the dog?
casting
The
couch?
dog itself? Well, it looked like it was dying, which we liked. It literally looks like death. Like it looks like drawings in the Bible you would see of what death looks like.
I had to fight hard, though, to convince everybody that the Greyhound was
It's just a pain in the ass having a dog on set is why, more
Yeah.
than anything. And greyhounds are fucking weird dogs. It's like their
Well, they're-
skin is thin, like you
they're
can't
really
touch them
needy.
too much. Like
They can't-
literally the trainer would be like, "Don't touch him. You'll cut his skin with your fucking fingernails."
can't-
You're just like, "What are you supposed to do with this dog?" Like it was the weirdest. It was,
They can't lay on hard
They
floors.
can't lay on the floor because their bones
they're
will
so
punch through
sensitive,
their thin
and
skin. It's
In the cold weather, they can't.
Yeah,
they have to be moving
literally
constantly.
wearing a little coat
They have
in
to
one
wear
of
a
the
coat,
seats,
Yeah.
you're
Do
like-
you have like a treadmill for it?
it was
Yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah, we had
they-
to keep it moving and walking. Yeah, it was
But-
super weird.
What I liked is that that dog looks and represents and personifies exactly how character feels inside and what he's going through, and I sort of like those parallels. So I think it worked really well.
I'm glad you didn't talk about Joe in the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question, please. Lady in the blue scarf in the middle. And you can shout, yeah. They won't hear you in Slovakia.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is for all the young filmmakers in the audience, like anyone who wants to get into this business, maybe one piece of advice each of you could give to us about making films that really matter to us. What's one thing that kept you going when you first started in this industry?
I mean, I think that the good thing about how the world is today, I mean, when I was starting out, there was no YouTube or Funny or Die or any real internet. So I think that I do think you should write things that are personal to you and create things that you feel strongly about and that you yourself believe in strongly. And I think that you should try to just do it. I mean, I think the average iPhone has a better camera than they made movies on 40 years ago. So anyone can make a movie now. So I think that I would just say do it. I know people that have made movies for a few $1,000s. I know people that made movies for no money at all. I mean, you can just, I would just say do it. I mean, just don't wait for someone to give you permission to do it. You should just do it.
I agree, and to keep doing it, and because the more films you make, and the more the more scripts you write, and the more films you direct, you'll just get better and you'll learn.
Most of the successful people I know, that's what they did. Like David Gordon Green, who did Pineapple Express, like he went to film school and he made these little movies, and he started because they were good. He got some money from some other people to make some movies, and he slowly, got the attention of people like us who could take him and give him a more expensive movie to make that could potentially lead him into the next part of his career. And the same thing with Greg Mottola and Michel Gondry and John Levine. Almost every director I've worked with has come up like that. And me, I did stand-up comedy. That was just kind of my version of doing it myself. It was something that I didn't need other permission from other people to do. I could get up in a club and just tell my jokes,
And I got cancer.
And Will got cancer. That's the other piece of advice: is stick your head in a microwave for 3 hours a day.
Thank you. There was a lady there, with the blonde hair. Put your arm up higher so we can see. There you go.
Hi. This probably isn't a very good question, but for
Oh,
Seth,
don't start like that.
Come
That's
on.
not good.
I just want to talk to
Self-belief.
you. But if you could choose anyone that would play your character, if you were playing yourself, who would you choose?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably Jonah Hill.
Slim Jonah Hill or heavy?
Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. I'd choose Slim Jonah Hill. Why not? I deserve it.
You worked hard. You do deserve it.
Yeah, I worked hard. I deserve Slim Jonah.
Next question. Oh, there you go. Another waiver at the back. Hi. I'll come to this next.
When Will was ill, did you actually try and convince him to pick up women in a bar by telling them he had cancer?
No. I didn't think he would, and I was too afraid to do that. I think more than anything, like what we wanted to show was that, I mean, when Will was sick, he still did go to bars and parties, and you know, we went out and we didn't hit on girls because we never did that. We did the same stuff we always did, which was get some drinks and stand in the corner and make fun of people. But what
The closest thing we did do was that we got to cut the line at Batman Begins.
we did. Batman Begins came out right after Will had his back surgery, and I went up to the counter and I was like, my friend just had cancer and he had surgery. I can't possibly wait in this giant lineup to see this movie, and they let us in for free ahead of the line, which was awesome. So that was
the equivalent to getting laid.
for us. That's just as good as getting laid. Exactly. That's kind of better. Yeah.
It was opening night.
Yeah.
It was great.
Lasts longer.
Hopefully Joe can get you in.
Yeah, exactly. I hope so. And Christian Bale's there for both occurrences, though.
Right to the very back. Gentleman waving at the very, very back.
Hi, yep, I do have cancer, and I must say, a big well done for doing that movie, because it was awesome to see it on film.
Oh,
and
thanks.
I think you got it spot on.
Thank you so much.
Obviously, it's going to be different for lots of different people, but yeah, I understand it, I got it, and I think other people will too as well.
Thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm nothing, well, yeah, 50-50 is, yeah, no, I'm much better.
Oh, great.
But but it is, it was really good to see, and to actually get it for other people. Probably on one level, I'll say, is there a 50-50 too, but it's
up to you, Will.
but probably on a more serious level, how did you actually decide to actually change it in terms of the end, like in terms of actually decide to finish it there? Because I think you got it spot on, but you know, obviously that would have been a consideration, because it's you know, oftentimes on it is 50-50, and sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad.
So are you asking why we decided to have the main character live at the end? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, I lived, so it would have felt weird if I killed myself.
Yeah. That would have been such a bummer if we know you lived, Will, but it's better for the movie if you die. We just
I also don't know.
not to undermine your victory, but you got to take a hit for the team on this one. And you got to actually pretend to be dead, because that.
No, I mean, I also, I don't know. It's a really difficult thing to sit through a movie and be so invested in a character and really care for him and feel for him, and then he dies in the end. That's really tough movie
it's
to watch.
just not other people. Again, it's not our goal to make miserable movies, and I think that there is a version maybe of that could somehow be inspirational, but we couldn't think of it. I mean, it seemed. And I think in a lot of movies, it shows the sad side of what happens. In almost every movie about this, the person does die, and we wanted to show that doesn't always happen, that a lot of people, more people than ever, are beating cancer as the medicine gets better and early detection gets better. So we wanted to show that these stories don't always end that way, and that it's not a death sentence necessarily.
Yeah, because I mean, for you, you're going through this, and I feel like for me, whenever I told people that I had cancer, they immediately thought that it was a death sentence, and they just looked and talked to me as though I was going to die, and I feel like, I don't, and I think that's because every movie that is about cancer, the character dies in the end, and so I think it's important that there's a sense of hope and optimism out there.
But there's that real sense of kind of honesty with emotions in the film as well, in terms of you're laughing one minute, and that scene in particular where he's just about to go in for the operation, and that split second where he just stops, and that relationship between him and his mum just changes instantly. It's just fills you with emotion.
I think that's, you know, I think ultimately that was what we wanted to do most, was to just show what the, you know, reveal the experience of it, you know, not it doesn't have to be, you can have those same emotions without, you know, a character dying in the end, you know. I mean, and I think that's it's important to show that.
Good luck.
Yeah, best
Thank
of
you
luck.
for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next question, please. I said I'd come to the gentleman over here, who I've had my back to. I'm so sorry for the entire time.
Why don't the mic people start giving the next person with
Yeah, that's
the
a great
question
idea,
the
actually.
microphone?
Just pick someone.
I
if you've got a mic.
saw that happen once at a Q&A.
You've got to You're running this.
Seth Rogen producer.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I'm a good producer, yeah.
How different was the final draft of your script to that first one that you were talking about, and how different was the film from the final draft?
Well, I mean, how different was the first draft? Well, I'll say first of all, like, the final draft was just, you know, I was writing it as we were shooting. I was rewriting as we were shooting it, so I don't even know where the final draft. I don't even. If I was to go find the draft of the movie,
from the first draft that you had?
I would say
it was quite a bit different.
It just evolved. It just, you know.
I think the story was always the same. It was a guy who had a friend and a girlfriend and a therapist and the mother, and all that was very similar.
And there's a lot of jokes and a lot of lines that are in that first draft that made it, but it's just going deeper into the characters and getting to know more about them and moving scenes around. And also, I mean, I think that first draft, like, it was okay, but it was kind of a mess structurally. Like, it was the first screenplay I'd ever written, and it came from like a really raw place, and like the whole confronting, Rachel cheating and the confrontation, like that all came like later in the script. And I remember that was like something we discussed, that no one really wanted to watch this shitty girlfriend for 90 minutes, and so we kind of had to figure out a way to get her out of the movie earlier, and that worked really well. And, But
the first draft was actually much more comedic, I think.
Yeah, probably.
And it was much less like what actually happened. I think the process was kind of helping Will realize that he could just kind of keep it simple and more reflective of what he went through, rather than trying to add a bunch of, elements to make it a movie.
Like the first draft had a scene where Adam goes to like laugh therapy, and it's totally a scene out of The 4-Year-Old Virgin, where it's just this ridiculous thing where everyone has all of these problems and they're like learning how to laugh at it. But it's just, I mean, you should all go on YouTube and look up laugh therapy.
It is crazy.
It is the weirdest thing, and it is really funny, but you will not believe that actually exists. And I mean, there were things like that were really funny, but they just didn't feel real.
Yeah.
Hey, have we got a microphone with someone else now already?
They didn't do it.
Oh, they didn't do it. Just give the mic to someone who's got their hand up, and if you can do the same on this side.
Yeah. Keep your hands up.
Find someone who wants to.
Even though someone's asking a question,
There we go.
and you'll get a mic as the person
Go.
before
What are
you
your,
asking a question.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
What are your favourite comedy films, both of you? Or if not one, a couple?
That's a hard one. I like Ghostbusters.
That's being re-released in October.
Oh, good. I like The Big Lebowski's one of my favorite movies. I like a stoned grunt comes out of it. The Last Detail, I consider it I think it's funny, but that's one of my favorite movies also.
My favorite movies. My favorite movie is The Apartment by Billy Wilder. Harry and Tonto by Paul Mazursky.
You're a pretentious asshole. Can I just say?
Harry and Tonto was Art Carney won an Academy Award. Hey, it's about, for those of you who don't know, Harry and Tonto is about a retired man who goes on a cross-country trip with his cat. And it's great.
Sounds about right.
It's really great. It's an awesome movie. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
I can.
Ghostbusters, come on.
Yeah,
That's what
Ghostbusters. You know, I'd put Harry and Tonto up against Ghostbusters any day
You
of the
should
week.
see Harry and Tonto.
Do they shoot the fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in Harry and Tonto? I don't think so.
Bill Murray?
Huh?
Have you ever worked with Bill Murray?
No, I've never even seen Bill Murray in real life.
Would you like to?
I would love to see him. Yeah.
Is he here? Is Bill Murray?
Is he going to come out and give me a cake? Yeah. Bill Murray.
I mean, you've both worked with kind of an amazing selection of people. Do you have a wish list? Do you have people that you want to work with, whether that's writing for people or whether it's people you want to be in the film with? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who make awesome movies that would never put me in one of them.
Surprises. Who?
Like the Coen brothers I like a lot, and Paul Thomas Anderson I like a lot. And yeah,
Pretentious.
Yeah. That's not, come on. Harry and Tom. People have at least heard of these people. They're alive. But yeah, those guys will never put me in a fucking movie.
Next question.
Hey,
You got
Seth
Oh, whoa. Where are you? Where?
I'm over here.
Oh yeah, there he is in the back. Okay, nice.
Hey, Seth.
Hey.
We got it.
All right. What was the funniest thing to happen on the set of Pineapple Express?
You're around 4 years late with that question, but the funniest thing that happened on the set of Pineapple Express, I really don't remember at all anything that happened on the set of Pineapple Express. Actually, I will tell you the funniest thing that happened. There's a scene where James Franco hits Danny McBride in the back of the head with a giant bong, and even though it was a breakaway bong, it cracked Danny's head open pretty bad. But what's funny is we didn't get it right on the first take, and so we had to hit him again in the back of the head with another glass bong, and he had to go to the hospital after.
and also, similarly, when Franco hit his head in the nail.
On the tree, yeah, there's a scene where he runs into a tree and he cracked his head open on the tree. A lot of people crack their head open on that movie.
And that was...
That's the danger of making a weed action movie, my man.
That's why he had to wear a headband.
It is. That's why Franco's wearing a headband throughout the whole movie. It's true. Is he has a giant gash on his forehead from running.
He's scarred for life.
He actually does have a little scar for life, and it only makes him more handsome somehow.
Okay, where's the mic now? Lady in the middle. Oh, gentleman in the middle. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. Excuse me.
There's a light in our face. Yeah.
I'm Charlie. Was writing the film like a good chance of reflection of the whole of what you went through, and how did the story evolve as you wrote it?
Yeah, no, writing it was probably the most therapeutic thing I could have done. It was incredibly cathartic. I didn't know that was, going to be the case, but it was a great way for me to really just kind of get it out of my system. Because once I got better, I really had all this. I had a lot of anger. I mean, it was really it was a really traumatic time, and it really sucked. And I had no place to put all of those emotions, and writing it, and the process of working on it and being supervised by Seth and Evan was really great, because I had two of my best friends pushing me further and further into examining my own story, my own life, and so the story just evolved as I just examined my own experiences more, and so it was probably if you should all just write a movie about your traumatic experiences, because it's
don't send them to us though.
Yeah, but mandate films.
Yeah,
it's easier though to write about your own experiences rather than complete fabrications.
I think it's different for different people. Clearly, like the guy who wrote Inception doesn't feel that way, but for us, it's...
I mean, for me, when I write, I want to know as much about the world as possible. So, it's great, having, lived it and knowing where the characters come from.
Do you, Seth, or do you find it easier to write about experiences as opposed to...
Yeah, definitely. I think it's much easier to write from your own experience, and it's usually better more than anything if you write from your own experiences. I think the end product is usually better.
There's more details to draw from. It's the minutia is just
I think you care about it more, so you probably work on it harder.
Okay, we've got time for 2 more questions. Has anyone got microphones
This
already?
girl has
Hi.
one already.
Hi.
Nice. It's working, guys. We did it.
Do you see yourself developing stuff for TV, or are you just going to focus on feature films?
Who's that for?
Will's doing stuff for TV.
I'm doing stuff for TV.
Are you? Sorry, I didn't check IMDb before.
No, it's okay. No, it's not on yet. Will's writing. You're writing a show.
I'm writing a show for HBO. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's called The Baghdad Country Club, and it is about a bar in the green zone in Baghdad, and it's a comedy.
That's not from your personal experiences, though.
I did serve in the
exactly. Yeah,
I've never been.
You're a Marine, right?
And that was really hard to write. It took me over a year of to research it and to really kind of delve into the world and understand it to be able to write about what it's like to live there. And now I can confidently say I know what it is like 100%.
You could have just gone there.
I love it because people read it now and they're like, you really captured the world in an honest way. I don't know. I have no idea.
There's 3 people on Earth that will know if you did that accurately or not. Me and Evan talk about doing TV shows sometimes, but we haven't really settled on an idea that we like that much. But yeah, we're open to it. It's just really hard TV compared to movies.
Harder?
It is harder. It's a lot more stressful. A TV show could just end at any second. Like a movie, they'll let you finish filming usually if you start filming it. A TV show, you could literally show up for work one day and it's over. So that I remember having to live under that fear. And have the experience twice of showing up and it being over. So it's just not a fun work environment. And the difference also is with TV, I mean, HBO is different. It's not TV, it's HBO. But for network TV, I mean, your paycheck is being paid by advertisers. And with a movie, your paycheck is being paid by, thank you, sir. Your paycheck is being paid by moviegoers, and I think that just makes it a lot easier. I mean, as creatively stifling as studios can be, they're much less stifling than television networks. So I think because they have to answer to advertisers, and movie studio owners just answer to money, which is given by people. Sometimes.
Okay, last question. Who's got the mic?
Hi.
Hi. Where are you? Wave.
Right there.
Yeah, hi.
Do you think that 50/50's opened you both up to do more like drama films, or do you think is always going to stick to doing comedy?
Me?
Both of you.
Both of us? Will?
I'd be down to write a drama, but I'd have a hard time not putting jokes in it though. I think it would be hard.
Yeah, as an actor, I mean, I would, if it seems like an interesting movie, I would do it, regardless of the genre. Am I pronouncing that right now?
I think neither of us really like to define movies by genre. I think it's really just about the idea. And
we don't like your labels, man. No, it's, I mean, I think there's funny, I mean, there's, but the answer is I would do any type of movie if it seemed good, and like a movie that I would be excited to go see in the theater.
Tell them about your next movie. It's coming out here.
Oh, that's coming out here? Yeah. I just filmed a movie with Barbara Streisand, actually, about a mother and son that go on a road trip across America together.
Can't wait.
And it's...
I actually can't wait.
I was in a car with Barbara Streisand 12 hours a day for 3 months. It was pretty rad.
Just want to finish by...
Is there a cat in the film?
See, he's down with that.
Skeletor is
exactly, a feral cat.
What do you want people to take away from 50/50? What do you want them coming out in the cinema?
Well, I mean,
I just always hope people don't feel like they wasted their money. That's my first and foremost goal. But it'd be nice if they emotionally connect to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, if the movie can lead to, I mean, I found that when I was sick, and there were support groups, and they were in the basement of the hospital, and it was really, it was not a comfortable place for me to go, and it was really difficult for me to talk about, my experience. And if the movie can just open up a broader discussion and allow people to talk about a difficult subject in an easier way, I mean, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, but if you just don't feel like you waste your money, that's okay too.
Either way, we're cool.
Thank you both so much.
Excellent. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Will
and Seth, everyone. Thank you.